and welcome back to Xenoblade Chronicles. For those of you who have forgotten, we are currently scaling the Mechonis, and we are climbing up its insides, although specifically right now we're about to clamber around on the outside for a bit, and there across from us we can see parts of the Bionis. I'm not sure which it is, maybe some sexy legs, or... no. Oh, it might be. Just look at the clouds, look at the pretty clouds. We can all agree those are some pretty snazzy clouds. Our most recent, well, the update prior to this one, I won't bother calling it recent. We were partway through. We had just done some shenanigans, pressing buttons, and that is pretty much how this is going to continue. The rest of this episode is... sorry, not this episode. The rest of the Mechonis traversal sections, it's pretty much filler. What I feel they did was they had one version planned out, and then they realised you spent a very long time running around on the Bionis. There were lots of very different areas and open plains and stuff, but then when you got to the Mechonis, it's very brief, and I think they were worried that people were going to expect the Mechonis to be a mirror of what the Bionis was, that we'd spend a lot of time finding like mechanical plains and things like that, and mechanical colonies and so on. It's not like that at all. It's much briefer, and the areas in it smaller than the Bionis, and the majority of stuff we interact with will just be fighting. We met the people of the Mechonis in previous updates. They are pretty much all clustered on the hand now. There are some secret areas here. This one I find rather odd, considering it's labelled a secret area and it's just to the left of somewhere you're walking anyway to progress. We're going to slide down it though, because there are some treats on the way down. This is, as it says, the Great Scar. It's one of the many wounds that the Bionis left the Mechonis with. You also get to see the other characters fly off and repeatedly plunge to their doom. If I, decide what I'm doing already. There we go, we're going back to slide. Because there is a secret area around here that I wanted to find in particular, but a lot of the areas, including these secret ones, they're pretty much copy and paste. So I've slid down this one to grab this piece. Nice little red glowy. And then to save you the excessive amounts of fun of watching me climb up again, we're just going to skip to when I'm back where we need to be. We're not very high up yet. As you can see, we're not that much higher than the arm that's been removed. That's lying on the floor.
Whoa! Don't look down. Anyone know where we are? Other than high up?
Maybe somewhere around the thigh?
The thigh? You mean we ain't even halfway there yet?
Stop moaning about it. Look, we can make camp over there. Let's rest for a while.
Fiora, are you sure you're feeling okay?
I feel a bit like I haven't got used to this body yet. But please, whatever you do, don't tell Shulk about it. I'm sorry, Dunban.
Don't worry about it. Back when my arm was injured, it was you who took care of me.
I'd almost forgotten. It seems so long ago now.
Thanks, Ryan.
Doing a spot of maintenance?
Yeah. The sighting's been a bit off lately.
You know, Mikol let us have some new parts. I could make you a new rifle if you want.
Thanks. But I want to keep using this one for now.
Shulk, get a clue, man. It's more than just a weapon to her. She can't just throw it away and get a new one.
Yeah. I suppose so.
If she let anything happen to it, I bet she'd get a whack from old Atharon.
Doesn't my man ever rest?
Not a chance. The lives of everyone in the colony rely on the defense force. Our readiness and our will to keep on fighting.
We never know when the Mekon will strike next.
No. But I won't let anyone else die. If only I had more power.
Stop it! Gado, it's not your fault!
We lost 30 men in Fortress 3 alone.
Listen to me. Nobody knew that so many Mekon would come. More people would have died if it wasn't for you.
It's not about reducing casualties. We lost 30 men. And we've lost the fortress. Those men died for nothing!
Would their deaths have meaning if we'd won?
Yes. At least they would have died for something. This is the end now. It's either the Mekon or us. I don't care if I'm the last man standing. I'll take them down!
Hey, Ryan.
What is it?
Do you want to beat the Mekon?
Of course. What are you asking that for?
At any cost? Even if it means giving your own life?
Giving my own life? No way, I can't do anything if I'm dead. I'm gonna take down the Mekon and survive. And there's no way I'm gonna lose Shulk, Fiora, or you along the way. We're all gonna win this and get out alive.
If only we all thought like you.
What do you mean?
It's charming.
What?
We should get moving. We don't have time to hang around.
Ryan, did you rest well?
Yeah, I feel great.
It looks like we're about to re-enter the Mekonis. Brace yourselves.
Got it.
son? You okay?
Oh, it's nothing. Just my imagination.
There we go, patellar exhaust, we're at knee height. I mentioned a second ago, before the cutscene, that there was a second secret area. We're just going to go get that now. It's back the way we came, in a similar but slightly less obvious area. I must admit, it has been so long since I played this, a good few months, that I had to run off and do an amount of questing to actually remember what everything was and how things worked. I tried to play again and spent a lot of time smashing buttons and going, what's going on? It was productive, but it wasn't inspiring, and I only want the content I put up to be inspiring. It just popped up on the mini-map was a little quest and shop symbol. And goodbye, rain. Oh, we're about to fly off the edge. Wait for it, wait for it. No, I pulled it back, but Shulk's gone. And Shulk's gone again. Never taken rock climbing. But there's a little secret area here. And a shop with brand new stuff in, including anti-mechon weapons that are almost up to standard with our current loadouts. Still, they're not as good, but they are nowhere near as far behind as the other versions currently available if you don't find this little hideout. So we gather up some quests, and then I kit us out in all new snazzy anti-mechon stuff. Because quite frankly, Shulk is more than a little bit of a dick when it comes to using his enchant spell in this area. Up until now, I haven't really suffered too much for it. You couldn't trust him if you needed it in a boss fight, but you could get through the areas fine. But for the most part, as I ran through a lot of these places, he just didn't do anything. And I think there must be something in the AI that says it's only worth... Or maybe there's something in the AI that says it's only worth casting it when enemies are over a certain amount or level. But it was drawing things out too long and it was really tedious. One thing that is interesting that we saw in the last update, no, not the last update, the last cutscene, was Sharla saying that she was still using Gaddo's rifle. Now we have Gaddo's rifle in our inventory, it's something we can never sell or drop. You can equip other things, but as that shows, from the character's perspective, she's always using the same thing. And I found this interesting because when you equip things on all the characters, obviously we know everything changes, as you've seen the fashion run. As I've dressed them up in alternately fabulous and terrifying outfits and the occasional, more than occasional, Ryan in his underpants. So I wonder if that was just them making a concession to continuity. Them going, it doesn't really matter that much, we'll just say she's using it anyway. Or if maybe from the characters' perspectives, they are using core weapons and maybe just making them a bit fancier with bits or swapping things in and out. But maybe to them, they're using similar things? I think it's much more likely to be the concession though, because thinking about it, Shulk uses the same weapon all the time, and that just upgrades over time. And the other guys, they don't even have named weapons, they just use random stuff. So I guess it's just suspension of disbelief. Okay, now this area in particular, you can see we've sped up. I'm going to be going through these internal sections with a combination of being sped up and actually skipping good amounts, because there will be no point in showing you. The internals of this area are massively extended, and a lot of it is just copy and pasted. And as I was saying at the beginning, I really do think they found themselves finding that the Mechonis was far too short, and they worried that people were going to expect a much longer experience, something on par with the Bionis. But rather than creating new and different areas, they've taken the areas that they did have and just extended them with repetitive tasks. In this case, we have to hit 2 switches. And you are about to witness some of my trademark stupidity in the editing, because I think I hit the button and then go to fight something, and it turns out I haven't hit the button, but I edit anyway. But just pretend I hit that button. But instead of pressing one button, what I actually end up having to do is run back up, run back round, and find an identical button mirrored on the other side and fight my way through to it again. All of this so that we can hit a button in the middle. Yay! All the while everything looks identical and is full of identical copy-pasted enemies and groups of enemies. There's a few cases where we'll see uniques, but in fighting them there were very few that I noticed were actually unique rather than just buffed up compared to their non-unique counterparts. They'd just thrown in a few harder versions, whereas uniques everywhere else mostly have, well, a couple of unique things about them. So we've pressed 3 buttons and we've made a lift work because the power was missing. And although they're popping up and down quickly, you may notice in those quest description screens there's very little there. There's very little in any of them. They boil down to, this is missing power, or this is locked, go unlock it, go find power. They stand out from the rest that you get, where there's always some flavour text or detail, or just something a bit more interesting. It's really missing here. And as you can see on the other end of this bridge, not just the ones we're being followed by, there's another huge group of Mechon. And I've skipped fighting them on the screen for you guys because it's a standard fight. It is just a group of Mechon, and by this point, to push those 3 buttons and come across the bridge, it's probably like the 8th or 9th group I've taken on. For a very, small set of tasks and small length covered. But we can progress, and really, this section wasn't too bad. It's the next 2 updates you'll be seeing that gave me the most trouble, both in navigation because the repetitiveness in both the visuals and layout of everything, combined with, as you may remember, my absolutely terrible grasp of directions and maps and basic spatial awareness, meant it was really difficult for me to get round, and also very tedious. I've only left in areas where something interesting happens, or say the background changes to an extent, because a lot of it, that not seeing it doesn't make a difference whatsoever. You are essentially going on a linear path that is just obfuscated? I'm just going to leave you with that.